Good morning, class. I'm so glad you all could make it. This is Good Friday, one of the most important days of the church year. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but I'm doing this series of videos during Lent, which is the most important time of the church year. It really is. Many interesting things happen at the church all through the year, but this is the most important part because it has to do specifically with our salvation. Fancy word meaning Jesus saved us. So, Good Friday is about how that... Did you hear that? I'm sure that some of you already know that Good Friday is the day that Jesus went to the cross and died for us. But the night before Good Friday was something called the Last Supper. And oh, that sound is definitely coming from inside the blanket fort. Do you want to go? Maybe we should go check it out. All right, let's go see what's going on in here. Looks like normal fort stuff so far. Oh, I see. Have you heard that sound, Beweens? Yeah. Okay, we're coming in. Coming in past the cat, and then, oh my gosh, so dark in here. Let me just look around for the light switch. Ooh, snacks. I love snacks. This way. Wow.
Excuse me. Hello.
Hello.
We heard that you teach Sunday school. Is that true?
Yes.
See, I knew it. Well, we were wondering if you knew anything about something we both heard about called the Last Supper. We're a little worried because we'd like to keep having supper because it's our job and we like it too. So if there's a Last Supper, that mean there's no more supper? Because I don't want to have to get a job as a chip bowl or something. Yeah, or like have to pretend to be a glass. We want to keep making supper, so we're kind of worried about there being a last one.
Okay, I think you might be misunderstanding this a little bit, so why don't I explain it to you?
Great, thank you.
So, what do you guys know about Jesus?
He's great. He's the savior of the world. He did miracles and stuff. He multiplied loaves and fishes. Yeah, that was like the biggest supper ever. And he did it with baskets. Yeah, baskets.
Sounds like you know something about him. But I'll just tell you about the Last Supper. Number one, it already happened, so you totally don't have to worry about not having supper. We're definitely having supper for the rest of our lives.
Phew, yes. Yay.
So Jesus had a Last Supper with his friends around a table. It was the night before he died on the cross. It was a very special supper because he was explaining using wine and bread about how he was going to suffer and die on that cross and then go conquer sin and death.
Why wine and bread?
He said about the bread, "This is my body." And he said about the wine, "This is my blood." And so he was going to give up his body and his blood, give up his life, in order to save the whole world.
Wow. Well, why? Why did he do that?
Well, maybe I can explain. Do you guys know any plates?
Hank. Hello, I'm Hank.
Can I borrow you?
Sure.
That's great. I'm just gonna lay you down right
Hey, Hank.
here. Let me see. Do we have some other things in here I could use? I'd see what we can use. Okay. So let's pretend that this plate, Hank, is the world. And this little dime right here, this is us. So here's us in the world.
All right.
So then let's say that the iced tea in this cup represents sin. Okay, so here we are in the world, and here comes sin, and this is what it looks like. Oh my goodness, look. It's going everywhere. You can try to kind of get away, but it sticks to everything. Kind of goes all over the place. It's very hard to contain it.
Whew, so messy.
But lucky for us, we have Jesus. And Jesus is the light of the world. And he came down, 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 right into the world with us and with all this sin. So what happened on Good Friday, just the day right after the Last Supper, let me see. This thing can help me. So when Jesus went on the cross, all of that sin was taken up upon him. See how all the sin is going inside? It's picking up all that stuff all over the whole world and away from us.
Wow.
Oh,
Yay.
So that's what Jesus was explaining at the Last Supper, because when he gave up his body and when he gave up his blood there on the cross like that, he took all the sin in the whole world and brought it upon himself for us.
Okay, but what about the really bad sins? Yeah, like, what if you burned dinner? Yeah, like, what if you burnt dinner every night? Yeah.
Especially the really bad sins, all of them. His sacrifice covers all of it. And that's why we remember his suffering and his death on Good Friday.
Wow. This Last Supper thing is way better than I thought. Totally.
Oh, yes. And do you guys know what happens a few days from now?
Easter! There's a lot of chocolate. And we celebrate Jesus' rising from the dead.
You pots are pretty smart.
Yeah. I'm glad we learned about the Last Supper. I'm so relieved. Does this mean we could make not Last Supper right now?
Sure.
Let's have macaroni and cheese. Yeah.
Wow. Did you see those guys? I think those were the nicest pots and pans I ever met. So glad they asked me those questions. Imagine thinking the Last Supper meant the last supper ever. Let's see what that gigantic Bible has to say about this. As they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and broke it and gave it to the disciples, and he said, "Take, eat, this is my body." Does that sound familiar? And then it says, and then he took the cup and he gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink this, all of you, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins." So what he was really talking about at the Last Supper was the cross. So why would he do all that? There's another part in the Bible that talks a little bit about this. Talking about Jesus, it says, he is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his nature, which is fancy words for he's just like him, just like him. And so if God is love, like everybody says in the rest of the Bible, it's for love. So I hope that you have a good Friday, and that you remember that God did all this because he loves you so much. That's why. Not just you, everybody. So, I'm sure you already know that in a couple more days, something really exciting happens. It's gonna be Easter. In which case, I will have another video for you on Sunday morning. So until then, stay well, be blessed.